Your kids could get free or low-cost health coverage from Medicaid or CHIP. Even if you've applied before, they may be eligible now. Kids up to age 19 are covered for checkups, vaccines, dentist visits, hospital care, and more. And if they already have Medicaid or CHIP, remember to renew every year. Visit insurekidsnow.gov or call 877-KIDS-NOW. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Welcome to the Snobs podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Snobs podcast. I had to show that clip again. Of course, Dan's fall, especially mixed in with the fall guy, because we're going to be talking stunts tonight, and I'm super stoked. I absolutely love talking about stuntmen, stunt women, the stunt department in general. It's so much fun. Like, it's not something I never got to do, but I always truly respected and loved and loved to witness in films. So I'm super stoked. We have special guest William R. Perry. His name is Bill. We're bringing him in later, and we are going to be talking about his stunt work, especially in horror movies, which is a lot of fun. I hope you guys are here for it and ready to have a good time, because tonight's going to be really fun. If you have any questions, throw them in the comments. We'll try and get to them, but we're going to be covering a lot. Of course, we always start with our wonderful reviews. What new movies have we seen this week? That's right. Oh, I checked out The Baltimoreans. That's right. I checked out The Baltimoreans. This is a movie. Listen, as far as movies go, this wasn't a bad one. This was pretty good. I gave it a 2 out of 5. This is a story of Cliff and Dee Dee. They have a chance meeting after an accident on Christmas Eve, and then they realize that they have nowhere to go for Christmas. So they spend it with each other, walking around and discovering the city of Baltimore. This is directed by Jay Duplass. This is one of his newer films. And it's a romantic sort of comedy. These two are kind of coming together after sort of tragic times. And now, since they find themselves alone, they're finding solace and comfort within each other. It isn't anything that's moving mountains or needles in terms of filmmaking. It is a very sort of slow-moving movie. The acting in it, the performances in it were not bad, but they did tend to struggle to get to certain points. And it would draw things out, or like jokes would fall short, things like that. So it wasn't really well-timed, paced, and it wasn't the greatest of stories, because there was this big sort of push into, we're in the first act where we're getting to somewhere between these two characters where things can kind of blow up on them. And then you start pushing into the rest, and it just kind of fizzles out. There's no real resolution. There's nothing really like interesting about or pulling these two characters together. Interestingly, pulling these two characters together, you're just there. They're just kind of getting to know each other, but not in an awkward way. It just felt very by the numbers, sort of old style. Not even rom-com, like I would say like a romantic dramedy, something from the early 2000s, things like that, which fits well within Jay Duplass's world. But for this one, I think it needed maybe 2 actors who were a little more seasoned to be able to deliver the jokes, because it does deal with comedy quite a bit, but it was missing the tone. And it was missing the tone, the pacing, everything you needed, that real timing that makes all those jokes land in these romantic dramedy type movies. It felt like it was trying to be sort of like not even really a Jay Duplass movie, sort of like a Garden State or something like that in certain areas, but it just missed the mark. It wasn't a terrible movie. Again, there were some laughs in it. It does have some really good moments, tender moments in it that I really enjoyed. But then it would just kind of be like overtaken by something silly or absurd happening that wasn't really that interesting. I don't know how to explain it. It's just one of those movies where it kind of like, it draws you in certain scenes and then completely wipes you out in like the next scene, or where you just don't really care what's going to happen next. I say check it out. Maybe wait for it when it comes to streaming. It should be out very soon. But The Baltimoreans, go check that out and let me know what you think. I gave it a 2 out of 5. I'd love to hear what you guys think about it. Sound off in the comments. All right. But I also checked out Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues. I will tell you, this is one I was not really expecting to like. I really do enjoy the original, but it's not like one of my favorite movies of all time. I appreciate all of Christopher Guest's comedies. I think he does such a great job. And his characters in this, and Rob Reiner's direction, the original, really is something that is special and timeless, that sticks out to you. And their jokes lands. Like where I was talking with the Baltimoreans before, the jokes were fun at times, but they didn't really land or keep you wanting to be involved, or they kind of got overturned later. This Spinal Tap 2, it's almost like they didn't miss a beat. It's 40 plus years later, and they're all back for it. And it is a great time. One thing I really appreciate about the original is it fits and it feels like a rock documentary from the early 80s. And I love that they didn't try to sort of capture that spirit in this newer one, because this feels like something you would see on Access, the old TV channel that showed a lot of rock documentary stuff like that. But it's so funny. They play for the laughs that we knew, but they bring a whole bunch more in there with you. It has a really good time. Really good cast comes about. It's cool to see a lot of the rock stars that after the first one came out said that this was like one of their favorite movies show up in this one and kind of play off the characters. Everyone does a great job. They're much older in this one, but that plays well into the story. But they do not miss a beat with their comedy. It really does work. I like this. Some of the pacing in it can be a little bit slow, just like the original, trying to hit home. I think, with musicians. I think musicians would really understand a lot of the in-jokes in this more, like the original as well. But, and that's where I think it dragged a little bit for me. But overall, I thought it was funny. I thought Christopher Guest did an amazing job in this movie. He didn't direct it. Of course, he's just in it playing Nigel. But I thought he was funnier in this one than he was in the original. And that's saying something, because in the original, he did such a great job. Rob Reiner leads the charge. He does good direction in this. He seems to know exactly what he was supposed to do in terms of the look, the style, and the story they were going for. I appreciate that. But yeah, overall, 3 out of 5 stars. I love the movie. I thought it was a lot of fun. Go check it out when it comes out on streaming. Support them. And it's very cool also to see these older actors being able to come back out. I know a lot of older actors today are sort of struggling to find like meaty roles for them to play to kind of keep them going. Well, it's not a rehash. It's not something that's just a cash grab. They really put into it. They really brought the laughs, and I just appreciate that about this. And they all did great. It was perfect timing and comedy in my opinion. But all right, we're gonna get started. Thank you guys so much for joining in for those. We have a very special show planned. We have Bill Perry here. Is a stuntman, actor. He's been in the business a long time. We're going to ask him a bunch of questions because, again, we are excited to hear about stunts. That is for sure. But before we do, I do have to say, have you ever heard of Lustrowen? Well, you'd better have heard of them, because they are the premier custom window curtains and shades, easy to design and install. That's right, custom windows and custom shades and curtains for your windows with Lustrowen. I'm going to get that name wrong. I do every week, but that's okay, because you should go down to the link below and you'll be able to pronounce it when you look at it and get 20% off. But it really is a cool option. My wife loves them. We can look at some of their designs if you're watching the video, but check this out. This is like, it's for every room. They will take a picture of your room, your windows, and they will design them specifically for what you're looking for, your color tones, things like that. Why not? It's fantastic. But I want to bring in my good buddy, Paul. What's up, Paul? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm glad to be out of the sun. Glad to be back here, you guys. Sorry for being on hiatus all the time. I get camera shy.
Excited. You have been you've been missing a little bit, but I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're here. And we got when I told you that we had a stuntman coming on, what did you say?
Oh, I freaked out. I was excited.
You were so excited. It's just one of those things that, like, my son, and I'm going to ask him a bunch of questions about that. My son watched The Fall Guy last year when it came out, which I thought was a great movie. And I love 87 North and the fact that because it's a stunt background and now that they're making their own movies, they're giving a lot of wonderful roles to stuntmen. Like, that movie was filled with stuntmen and women who are fantastic in the industry now, killing it. And look at those stunts they put together. Like, when you really let them play, why not? Yeah. And I'm a big fan of the Mission Impossible movies, of course, too, and things like that. So, like, ever since we watched that, and we've been watching a lot of other big stunt spectaculars, he has been like, I want to be a stuntman. So I'm actually glad I get to talk to a stuntman tonight and find out what does that entail? How do I keep my son safe? Right. Without further ado, I want to bring him on. William R. Perry. We're going to call him, his name is Bill, of course. We're going to call him Bill. So don't get confused, but you need to check him out. His links are down below. Just so you guys know, coming up, the man is going to be there for you to meet. And I hope I have the information right here. I'm losing my mind tonight. This is what happens when we start talking about movies before the show. You know that, right? It's your fault.
It's my fault. It is my fault.
I'm like explaining it to you. So our friend Bill is going to be at Scarefest weekend from October 17th, 18th, and 19th in Lexington, Kentucky. That's right. His By His Hand, Out of His Mind, and By His Hand, a coloring book. Oh, I like that. I was so busy looking up Scarefest. This is his books? Oh, let me pull this up so you can see it. I love this. Check this out, guys. Everything's linked down below, so make sure you guys go down and check out everything that Bill has to offer. Here we go. These are his books that are out. Out of His Mind, By His Hand, and then there's a By His Hand coloring book you can get. This is awesome. That's very cool. Very cool. So make sure you check those out down below. Support them. Always support artists like this. But Scarefest weekend, October 17th, 18th, and 19th in Lexington, Kentucky. Go down and get some stuff signed. Talk to him about all of his work in horror movies, and not just horror movies, but everything. But and let's have a good time. But without further ado, let's bring Bill on. Bill, welcome to the show, sir.
No, I was hoping for a little more ado.
Oh, okay. We'll let you get out, and I'm
going.
We'll
do without the ado.
Without further ado. I just say it at the ends because then it makes me feel like I did it.
Yes.
Bill,
the coloring book that you see there is just out. It is not for kids. Please don't buy that for your children.
Okay.
I don't care how cool you think your kids are. Please don't show them this.
I'll tell you, I was talking to a friend of mine earlier today, and I color, if I'm doing something creative and I'm in a block or something, if I'm writing something up and I'm just in a real block, I will color a coloring book. I have adult coloring books to work, not adult coloring, just books for adults.
I have to say that every time I say it's an adult coloring book, and they're like, really? No. There's no nudity no, there isn't any.
No, but there are I collect a lot. I'm a movie guy, so the coloring books I will get are adult level coloring books of like different movie things
and lots of detail stuff.
Yes.
Kids would not enjoy because it's like, this is too complicated.
Yeah, it's a little complicated for me. I might be a little too young for it.
Out of pens. I don't want to do this anymore. This feels like work.
Well, what to talk about the books though? What made you get into writing them? Can you tell us a little bit about what they're about?
You know, it's funny. I've been in a bunch of horror films, and I've also started narrating horror books for Audible, just a publisher I connected with in England. And one morning I woke up and I had the most vivid, the most horrible nightmare I've ever had. And I remembered every bit of it. And my wife's a psychologist, and so we were taking the dog for a walk, and I give her the first few kind of ideas from it. She's like, I don't want to talk. This is really disturbing. Whoa. Yes, it is good, isn't it? And so I wrote down the notes about it as fast as I could, just to make sure I remembered it. And I reached out to the publisher that I do the books for, and I said, I'm not a writer, but I have this great idea. And I sent it to him, and he said, that's really effed up. And all I do is read effed up stuff, and this is real. And I said, yeah. And he goes, you going to write it? I said, I don't know, man. I'm not really a writer. And he says, can I write it? Yeah, you write it. So I waited about a month, and he didn't do anything. And I thought, I'm just going to take a swing because I remember this so vividly. I'm still seeing it, in my brain. And it's really stuff I don't really like visiting very much in terms of just how it plays out. And I wrote it, and I sent it to him, and I sent it to a friend of mine that teaches writing at Santa Monica College here in Los Angeles. And he called me from a plane and said, what is wrong? Dude, that's so nasty. That's so effed up. And I said, did you like it? He goes, it's amazing. Really? And he said, yeah. He says, I teach writing, and my four-year students sometimes don't come up with anything this, deep and connecting. Oh, okay. I was not expecting that, really. And then the publisher called me back and said, hey, we're going to go February 17th. For what? Well, that's our publication. Shut up. He's like, well, what did you expect to happen? I thought you'd give me a lot of shitty notes, and you'd tell me that I was a hack, and that I should cut my fingers off and don't go near a computer anymore. I just figured you just give me a lot of bad notes. I'd get really discouraged, and I'd leave it alone. And he says, is that what you wanted? I said, no, but I just really had my expectation for it. And he's like, no, I'm going to publish this. I'm going to change a few commas. Really? And so I started sending it around to people I knew that were horror fans. Because one of the things that happens, somebody reads your stuff. If they don't like horror, well, of course you don't like it. You don't like horror. Right. This is kind of horror. And I think of it more as a disturbing thriller. There's not a lot of really gnarly gore. At least not the way I meant it. And so it came out that way. And he asked me a year later, where's the sequel? I'm like, don't make me, no. I don't wanna go this place
you got to have a sequel.
Yeah. And But then one of my best friends is a guy named Lee Waddell, who's the ghost face in all the first couple of Scream movies.
Oh, nice.
He said, you know where this could go? He gave me an idea. Damn it. Shit, that's writing itself. Okay, fine. So I wrote the second book, and then people have asked me, is there a screenplay? Yeah, this would make Scream. And so I asked a guy to do some storyboards for me, and they looked more like a coloring cover. That's so sick and disturbing. I love that. And so I did some of the drawing, and I did some, I hate to admit, but I did use AI. Sorry. But I used a lot of Photoshop to try to composite images to make what I wanted to have in the coloring book. And so that just came out. So yeah, it's been a very strange time. I never thought of myself as really being much of a writer, but yeah, I enjoy the process. Kind of
Very
weird
cool.
to just, I don't write with anything in mind. I just write as fast as I can, go wherever it goes, as weird and twisted as that can be. And just, if you're going to dive in, deep end, go in deep. Say things like my family is like, I don't want to be the last person that you talk to before the police come to my door.
Very fair.
My brother said, you need a therapist. I said, my wife's a therapist. He said, no, you need another therapist. So it's kind of one of those things if you decide you're going to go there and you're going to try to scare people, go for it.
I love that.
I would ask my friends, is this too far? And they're like, way too far. Good, because that's where I wanted to be. So it's and like I said, now we've got a screenplay. We're talking to some directors and actors. That could happen. It's moving forward almost with a life all its own. And so I'm hoping probably early next year or if not later this year, putting this thing on film with a nice little budget. And can't believe I'm thinking about doing movies again at this point in my career. But here we are.
But it would be yours, and that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it's so much fun. And I'll send you guys the audiobook and Trauma. It's just pure trauma. I love
Okay, we're horror fans, so we're in.
I love when people tell me, dude, I had to stop. I had to stop for like a day. It's only an hour. The whole read is 1 hour. It's really short and sweet. Well, maybe not sweet, but I love that they had to stop because it's disturbing. And I'm like, good. Well, I means I created a character that you cared about. There's people in this that you don't want to see something bad happen to because you care about them, or you don't like them and you want something bad to happen.
That's good character
development. I've actually gotten into their brain and created that. That's cool. That's
very nice. I love those. Okay. So I have to ask though, have you colored your coloring book yet?
I did a couple of pages just because I wanted to see how long it was going to take, and I wanted to see if I enjoyed it. The things that happen in this book happen to people I care about. That's sort of the nature of the story. And all the worst things that you could possibly imagine happening to you and your family happen. So trying to color it and trying to enjoy is not fun. It's one of those things. When I read the audiobook, I had to read it several times because I just couldn't get through it. I'd get too emotional, or I'd be not emotional enough. Because it's really it's vivid. I think is probably my favorite term for it. And the coloring book is that way too. And so there's times where I did a couple pages and went, I'm done. People that really enjoy the book that don't have a physical connection to it, please enjoy. But yeah, it's in fact, I'm doing a thing for Scarefest where I have a coloring book contest, and you can get some free tickets. And I give the pages away for free. I'm not trying to make any money on it, but you color up a couple of pages and then send them to me, and you can win tickets to Scarefest. And the people that have done it are like, I need more red.
That's a good sign of horror.
Yeah,
we definitely need more red. I love that. Well, I appreciate you coming back on. I do have a lot of questions for you, so we're going to get into it. But I thought we would do our top 5 first, our top 5 movies.
I have to tell you, I love that you do that. You gave me a little bit of forewarning about that because I do a number of podcasts, and when I've got a show coming, I'm trying to do a little, get out there. And everybody asks the same question, and then the answers are the same, and people go, I saw this before. You say the same thing every time, like, because they ask the same question every time. What am I going to do? Make it up new stuff? No, I was born a poor black child. What am I going to say? So the fact that you are actually asking questions no one has asked makes this so much more fun.
I try. Hopefully you enjoy them. I do have. I put together some stuff, reading through your website and such. So I think I have some good questions, but I don't know if I'm 100% perfect on them. So we'll see. Before we start that, though, I need to know what your top 5 movie stunts are. This is a fun one. Now,
when you had given me a little bit of forewarning on this, I thought, well, I got to talk about things I've done. Because I can talk about other people's work, but one of the problems is, you talk about being a movie snob. When I watch a movie, if I start wondering how they did it, if I start recognizing people I know or have known, I kind of get lost in that. And I realized the movie wasn't so good that I got lost. And I love getting lost in them. My top 5 is all movies that I can watch over and over, and I just get lost in them, even though I've seen them a bazillion times. But I would say for stunts, I picked ones that I did because they had dumb stories that go with them. There is a movie called Breaking the Rules.
Yeah, it'll go with number 5.
I think it went straight to video. Good film. Jason Bateman and C. Thomas Howell. Good film. But I was put in a clothes dryer. And it was a scene when they were kids. They get, one of the kids dares the other kid to go into the clothes dryer. That's not a good thing because they really put me in a real commercial dryer. And every time that thing turned upside down, I fell on my head. And those paddles inside hurt. And I had this massive wound in the back of my head that every time, and they said, hey, we're going again. I'm like, oh, cripe's sake. What could possibly have gone wrong in the first filming? And it's in there for a minute. And so you're doing a revolution every second. So just imagine getting on, even if you did this on the lawn, doing 60 consecutive somersaults, you're going to puke. Yeah. And I did. I did on take 2. It was, and in the story, the kid pukes, which, it's like, well, I could have saved you some special effects money. But yeah, every time that thing turned upside down, we tried it a third time and I just said, no. This is not happening. I can't do this. And my middle name, it's William R. Perry, is Ralph. And that became quite the hilarity afterward as I walked around puking. So that would be one. Next,
that's your number 5. We're going to go round robin because we each have one. But,
so let's see. Number 4.
Well, before we get to number 4, because we're going to do it all 5s, 4s, 3s, 2s.
Oh, okay. I was going from possibly least favorite to most favorite. Is that what we're doing?
Yes.
Okay.
You're doing it perfect. That's where I'm at too with mine. Yes. And but Paul, you have a list too. What's your number 5? Because we'll be quick because we don't know enough about stunts.
I'll shut the hell up for a moment.
You're good. You're good. We want your commentary on these. You're the expert.
Yeah, I'm like sweating right now because I know you're going to judge me for my top 5 favorite stunts.
I am. Well, not just. Don't think of it just as me judging you. Imagine everyone watching judging you.
I'm not worried about that. Love you guys. So my number 5 favorite stunt to watch is I went with Jackass Forever. And that's the bull scene.
Oh,
Johnny Knoxville. That's just such a brutal one.
They're so brutal.
God bless them.
God.
So good. And I mean, brutal. I've watched all of those. It's one of those things. It's a total dude thing. I've never seen a woman in the theater. I've never heard of a woman renting or any of those things. But my God, if you just want to get into the most down, ugly belly laughs, pretty much anything, almost anything on that. Stupid shit. Jumping off of a trampoline into a ceiling fan.
It's so dumb. Yep. It really is jackassery.
And that's what I love about it. It's like, if I thought I could never get hurt, sure, I'd do that. But they know they're going to hurt. They know they're going to get injured bad. And I just, I can't say I admire, but no, I do enjoy it. All good.
Oh, yeah. My number 5 goes back a little bit. It's one that I really like to watch. That's my parameter on these. I really love watching these. Is the French Connection, The Drive.
Yeah.
That chase scene, chasing the train is fantastic. And the fact that it was done guerrilla always just astounds me.
Yeah. And so good. I mean, the tension, the editing is everything, because no matter what you're doing, it's got to have that tension. And how do you create that? So well, do you work with as a stuntman? Have you ever worked with a stunt team or coordinator? Worked with the post supervisor to kind of collaborate on that? I mean, they're sometimes on set talking about what coverage they want to see in terms of okay, how much in the car are we going to do? How much, cameras on the fender, cameras on the hood, cameras from behind, cameras, follow cameras and all these different things. So there's usually just so much coverage of these things. And we have a sense of what's going to happen because we read the script like anybody else, but we often won't see how it came out until it comes out.
Okay.
So, we might get a chance to see some dailies to see how, did it look violent enough, too violent? Does it look like somebody could have survived, that particular crash or whatever? So, but yeah, for the most part, we get to enjoy it just like you. When we see it on screen, it's like, oh, I'm amazing. It's like, no, the editing.
No, that's not fair. Stunts are amazing. All right, let's Bill, what's your number 4?
Okay, my number 4, I believe, was one of the Nightmare on Elm Streets.
Oh no, it's actually Falling Through the Roof. Elvira Mistress.
I'm sorry, Falling Through for Elvira, and it was Elvira's birthday on Wednesday. Hi, Cassandra. we did this thing where these bunch of kids are helping get Elvira out of jail. And so they cut a hole in the roof, but they're standing in the center of where they're cutting. Not smart. And they fall through the roof. And what they did was they put like a plywood floor with paper cups underneath so that when you land, that smashes the cups. Looks fairly real. And it's a nice cushion. Unless, however, you only weigh 150 or less, maybe 125. I landed and my knees just came back and got me in the face and I broke my nose and it's in the... So if you get to watch it, and it's in slow motion, thank you. And you get to see me take a total Kennedy head take. Just,
I need to rewatch that soon.
Oh, it's beautiful.
When I worked in the... when I was working as associate producer, my mentor and boss, God rest in peace, Larry, he was in that movie. He played the assistant director at the beginning.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, he was on The White Shadow. I think he's most famous for and stuff. But cool. Every time I see him in that now, like I have to watch that movie every so often just to remember him, But now I have a new reason also to watch it. And that's for your stuff.
And 8 of us fall through the ceiling at the same time, so we all have to kind of like land and try to get out of the way because they don't want to see our faces because we're doubling kids. So it was one of those things where when it happened, I just kind of put my hands over my face and I realized, oh no, this isn't where it used to be. I'm going to have to fix that. That's not going to be good. And they're like, are you okay? I said, oh, just got some dust in my eyes. I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick.
Oh my God. Black eyes.
Make sure nobody knows I got hurt.
I can't wait to see that again. Paul, what's your number?
It's a fun movie.
Oh yeah, it is such fun.
All right, Paul, what's yours? What's your number 4?
My number 4 is
this better be better than the last one.
Number 4. It's a stairs scene with him falling down the stairs. Like, God bless, I can't imagine.
Which movie?
John Wick.
Oh, when he's falling down the stairs in part 4. Yeah, that was so long.
Stair falls suck.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I mean, gravity does most of the work. But yeah, especially with, like depending on the kind of stairs. If you see like concrete stairs and steel stairs, my hat's off to you. God, that sucks. I mean, it's a good stunt and it looks cool, but there is really no faking it. I mean, you pad up as best you can. You try to have no corner. I tell you, no corner. Don't have any. Be as round as you can be so that you roll. And don't try to get into the air. Air is bad. So, yeah, you just roll and you try to pad up as best you can and not break your neck. Manage it.
Man, I don't even I've fallen downstairs before, but it was not a stunt.
No. Well, it was just you didn't get very well paid for it.
Yeah, no, not at all.
So which John Wick did? Because, I mean, it's funny. I've been rewatching all those. I mean, there's like ballet for action junkies. It's just the best.
It's the 4th one.
4th one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
this is that long staircase that he keeps trying to fight his way up, then they knock him back down, and I'm like, dear God.
I can't even imagine.
So those guys are absolutely badass.
Oh my God. 87 North is just, they're killing with the stunts. Like the Fall Guy, like again, I go back to, it's one of my favorite movies of 2024. Like I love stunts. I love that spectacular. So stuff like that is always going to attract me. And it starts with my number 4, way back in the day, The General with Buster Keaton. Oh, and it's the scene when they're on the rail and all of the wood pieces are stuck and he has to like knock them out while the train's still rolling on. And the fact that was all real, it just still astounds me.
Buster Keaton completely. I mean, no matter how high regard you hold him in, you ain't giving him enough credit. Man was a complete and total badass. Now they had some really cool effects and tricks back with painting and rear projection and stuff, but there's some really badass stuff. And it's just wow, that could have gone south any second.
I mean, the man broke his neck on that movie, so it's like. And he still was doing this scene. Like, it's crazy. I used to
do that.
I know you could. I couldn't. That's why it's on my number.
There's things I could do that I wouldn't do, however.
You know what? We're going to get into that. I have those questions. All right. What's your number 3?
What did I put? I'm sorry.
You had the window and the landing from.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So now we're talking Nightmare on Elm Street 6. So the plan is that this is the final one, and there's a lot of campy sort of humor in Nightmare on Elm Street 6. The Freddy's dead. They're going to finally kill off Freddy. And so the opening scene, it's kind of a Wizard of Oz kind of thing. and they're spinning the house around and the windows are breaking, and he gets thrown out the window and he lands right on the street in front of Freddy's house. And so first of all, going through the window glass is really thick. It's candy glass, or resin glass, but it's really, really thick. And I said, I don't have enough running up room. I'm not going to get through. He's like, don't be a pussy. I'm like, I get it, but I can't get enough forward momentum to get through that amount of glass. Oh, don't be a pussy. I'll try. So I end up halfway. And now I'm basically body weight dangling like this over a piece of glass, which is quite sharp. It's very brittle, but it's also pretty thick. And so I'm laying there and I'm just getting slowly sawed in half for a while. It's fun. Good day on the job. And then the other side of it, when I'm supposed to land on the ground, I'm supposed to fall out the window onto Freddy's street, on Elm Street. And we were right in front of the real house. So that was kind of cool. And they had this big house that they had sort of dropped there. And they would leap from the window onto the street, and they would pour a bunch of glass and debris out so it would look like it was me falling out. But it was about 20 degrees then in Los Angeles, which is almost never cold. Yeah. And I'm looking at the kid, and he's wearing a T-shirt and skinny jeans. Where do the pads go? Like, oh, you can't? That's a 7-foot, drop onto concrete or asphalt, whatever. I mean, it didn't really matter that much. And they're like, so? I'm like, try it. So I get up there and I dive out the window, and the shot is that they're going to follow this kid. He's going to land there and he's going to stand up, going to run to the front door of Freddy's house. So it's a really long follow shot, and they didn't get it right. Not my part. I did great as far as I'm concerned. I hit the ground and I roll out of the way, and the kids stand in the camera. So, we just do a quick switcheroo, and they run to the thing, and it's like, oh, it didn't come out fair. We're going to go again. Oh, really? Do it again. Bang. Now my shoulder's really sucking because I'm doing shoulder rolls just to try to get, that's a tall ladder and that's hard ground. We do it again and again. And after the fourth time, I'm looking at the stunt coordinator like, so what's going wrong here? And he turns to the director and says, we can't just keep doing it. He's like, why? He's like, because it hurts. And he's like, isn't he a stunt man? It's like, he's not an idiot, and it hurts. He's got no pads, and it's cold. And it just made it seem to make it worse. So we did it something like 8 times. And by this time, I'm diving to avoid my shoulder and landing on my hip or my back or my ribs. I get home, and the sort of funny end of this story is I get home, my wife says, oh my God, this is terrible. You got to tell them that you're hurt. Honey, this is what we do. Sorry, I know it looks nasty. No, you have to tell them. I made $8,000.
Good.
We're getting a new couch.
Pales in comparison.
It's just, a couch is so much more important. Your ribs will heal. The couch does not fix itself. And we need to. So after a while, you just kind of get used to you're going to do stuff that sucks. That was really sucky.
Yeah.
So that's my
long
story.
night. Oh man, I can't. That.
All right, Paul, you have something equally as painful.
You're a trooper.
I don't think I have it quite as equally as painful.
Now you have to reenact all of yours. All of your choices, Paul. In honor of Bill, you have to reenact them. Not me, though.
I'll do it.
In
I'll
real
get broken,
time.
but I'll do it.
No pads.
I went with Steve McQueen's stunt in Great Escape with the motorcycle going over the barbed wire fence.
That was a good one. Oh my God.
And he did it. And he really did it. One of the first times anybody really, did their own stunt. That was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Steve McQueen in all ways was a bad,
right.
Formula One driver. I don't know if it was Formula One or it was one of those.
Well, what we all have in common for our number 3 is that all of the actors really got hurt. Because I know he got hurt. And he did. He landed in the barbed wire for real. And he got hurt on that one.
I did not know.
And my number 3 is Police Story, when Jackie Chan in the mall comes down the light post and lands through the glass. And another one where he really got hurt, and
and probably did it a third time afterward.
I know, that's
guy
nuts.
indestructible.
I love those movies, and his stunts are just phenomenal.
I started as a martial artist, so watching Jackie he's so much better than anyone would imagine him to be, because most of his films are kind of fun and funny, but skills-wise, the guy, unbelievable. And the fact that, I love that he'll do fights with he'll defend himself with a bicycle in an alleyway, and and he'll choreograph the whole thing and, go all Fred Astaire and try to shoot it all in one, take. Guy's just a bad.
Hopefully he slows down a little bit in his old age. I doubt it. Yeah. He's faster than I am. I just saw him in the new Karate Kid, so I get it. All right. Number 2. What do you got for us, Bill?
What do I have?
Yours, the one you chose for number 2 is The Wheelchair from Hell in Nightmare on Elm Street.
Another Nightmare on Elm Street. Just this one, no real injuries. No one was killed. But they took this like 250, 300 pound wheelchair that's got spikes and knives, and Freddy's going to torture the kid. He's like, he taunts a kid in a wheelchair. Could you get away with that today? I don't think so.
I think you would really have to make him a bad guy, like a really like
yeah. He'd have to be a bad person.
Not like
so
the
anyway,
fun
they
Freddy
pull
we
this
come
thing
to.
with a Volkswagen engine, and there's wires that I have to avoid because that's getting pulled by an engine, and it's going to go 0 to 30, and I just have to have a little bit of a lead and run as fast as I can and not get my leg cut off. So that's what we did. And then they put it on a all-terrain vehicle and chased me with it all up and down these different hallways. Just fun. It's one of those things when you're doing movies, it's like you want to do something, you want to do the action sequence and you want it to be something memorable. And Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is almost, I mean, I'd say probably 80% of the people I talk to, if it's not the first one that's their favorite, it's that one. And that scene is something they enjoy. So it's just kind of one of those things. You like to think the work you did was not only appreciated, but actually, minorly low-key trick. So
I love that. And it's such a great, that's one of my favorites for sure. I love the first, but yeah, I love them all.
The practical effects in 3 are so much cooler than almost anything else.
They really went all out.
Yeah.
Oh, and trust me, I have questions. But what's your number 2, Paul?
I went with Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows. David Holmes for the jerk back of the explosion. He actually broke his neck on that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Sad story about that, but I mean, there's got to be 1,000 great stuff in that film, in all those films. I mean, and that guy was just unstoppable. Did a lot of the same kind of stuff I would do because of his height, but so much better than me. Damn. Obviously a very, very cool guy. But yeah, some great stunts in there. And I wish they made him over here. That'd have been a lot of work for a little guy like that.
Fantastic. I mean, yeah, I mean, we need our own.
My career was doubling kids. When I was doubling, I was doubling kids. So that's the key there. And I saw. I haven't seen the whole documentary yet, but I've seen some clips from the documentary about the stuntman, and just a badass, an amazing inspiration.
Yeah, it really is. Good choice, Paul.
What's yours?
Mine was pretty easy. It was T2, the truck chase scene in the Los Angeles River. It is like, I don't know what that movie visual effects wise, but the stunts were just truly amazing.
And that's one of those ones I do know the guys, who were in it, all good friends and competitors in a sense. But the guy who doubled the kid is a guy named Doc Charbonnet, and he did so many really ballsy stunts. When there's scenes where they're just crashing into that car and trying to drive it into the wall, that's it. Mm-hmm. That's what they're doing. No specifics. The stuntmen inside are prepared, but they're not necessarily protected. So it really had to be just so. And great drivers, really, really intense. And one of those scenes where I don't care if you know the guy, that story just sucks. And it's so good. And the special effects and the visual effects are just...
Well, let me ask you for going, because I threw on a couple of car chases, and there's actually one coming up that's not a car chase, it's a plane chase. But it's... like, for you, what is one of your favorite car chase stunts that you've seen?
Well, there you go. You're bringing me to my number.
Okay, all right, let's get down to it. You're
nice
up.
Segue. We did a movie called License to Drive. Your typical 80s, the Coreys.
Yeah,
I love that movie.
I was about to say that.
That is not the movie we shot. I swear to you, we shot an entirely other movie with a completely different plot. When I went to the premiere of that and watched it, I'm like, what is this? This is not the story we shot. So apparently at some point, the original script was made completely different, and they went back and I guess maybe it didn't test well. And so they reshot a whole bunch to make it fit the stunts and action that we did. I was absolutely stunned when I was out in the theater. But I will tell you, there's a bunch of car driving stuff, that big old land yacht cattle.
Yeah.
And that thing was just a juggernaut. We didn't have to put frames in it to keep us protected. That thing wasn't going anywhere. Yeah. We jumped them, we crashed them. And when you're going to be in a car crash, it's the most fun you can have with your pants on. Because there's times you're going down, I don't know if you guys have traffic like we got here, but you're driving down the freeway and you're just like, where are my guns? I need machine guns and lasers and flamethrowers. I need to clear the path in front of me because I'm going to gutterball that bastard in front of me if he doesn't get out of my way. So in a stunt, you get to do that. It's like, bam, you knock into the guy next to you. You rear end that guy because you know it's coming. It's not frightening. You know, it's nothing but fun when you know it's going to happen. And so that show, we did a lot of different stuff. I exit a bus through the window, a school bus, through the window while going down the street, but not the way you want to do that. I never leave by a door. In any of the films I did, I'm always going through a window. Got to learn doorknobs. But we go through a window, and I have to do a flip in the air and land on a follow vehicle. And then they show the kid getting up, and he jumps into a Ferrari. So it's kind of a dream sequence thing. But we did a lot of different car stunts, and it's almost all stunts. I mean, you know, title kind of tells you. But it was just all really fun driving stunts. Trying to like do a 180 in one of those big Cadillacs. Oh, it's impossible, but they had great drivers, and sometimes I was just ballast. I'm just the guy sitting in the seat next to them, so they wouldn't put the kids in there if they didn't have to, because things. And so I would fly around and get smacking into things. But when you know it's coming, it's so much fun. You know, it's just car stunts are best because it's all choreographed and it's very, very tight and it's very, very intense. But it's still fun.
Especially in that movie, because at the end, he's driving backwards in that big boat. I remember that vividly, like when his mom's having a baby and they got to get Carol Kane, who is amazing. I think she's one of the funniest women of all time. Yeah,
it's really, there's so much of that in there. And because it's funny, it's easy to overlook, you know, how complex some of the stunts were. That, you know, when you see two cars, you know, weaving at each other, that's, you know, you got to get really close in order for it to look good. And getting real close means, you got to really know your timing. You know, they got radios and they can say 3, 2, 1, turn. And, you know, everybody knows to go right then. It's like, wait, 2, 1, turn or on 1? Let's make sure we're all on the same page with it, because most of the time it looks faster than it is, you know, but 30 miles an hour and 30 miles an hour is still 60 miles an hour closing, and that can kill you just as well as anything else. So, you know, sometimes you'll see something and it looks like these people are going 180 miles an hour. Yeah, they're going real fast, but they're not going that fast. You know, they can undercrank the cameras and make it look a little faster. Nice. But still, you know, very, really fun stuff, but very...
That's so awesome. And that is so cool that you worked on that movie. I love that movie. I might have to watch that tonight. Just I got to watch that and Elvira because I want to see your stunts again.
Yeah.
All of them, because I love all these movies. And I
like looking at Elvira, and I like... I'm trying to think of her name. Heather.
Oh, Heather Lang. Langenkamp, right?
No, Heather. The one that was in License to Drive is another Heather.
Oh, Heather Graham. Heather Graham. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, I forgot.
Still in love with you, Heather. Just in case you're still out there.
She's an avid fan of the Teen Snubs. I know that for sure. I can say that. But Paul, what do you got for your number one?
My number one, I went with Death Proof. I went with the final car scene.
You got to watch Vanishing Point, dude. That's where they got it from. Watch the original.
Okay.
Too. Like, it's a good choice because Zoe Bell's great. And that is a great scene. But just to compare it to the original, like, you should watch that one. That's a good one. Good choice on that one. Mine is new. It's from this year. It's the biplane chase scene in Final Reckoning.
I have not seen that.
It's two biplanes. He sneaks out on one on the tire, and then he climbs up, gets the one pilot out, takes that plane, and has to chase the other plane, get on that plane while fighting. It was
as one does.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, when you're Tom Cruise, I guess that money will get you to do crazy things. But yeah, he took it one step farther in this, and I didn't love I liked the movie. I didn't love it comparatively to the others, but these stunts in this were just phenomenal. And if you do get a chance, I'd love to hear what you think when you see it.
It's interesting to as you watch these now, because one of the things they're doing a lot more of now is combining really good CGI, like flawless CGI, and the actors or a stunt person or both. And so now the line between how good a stunt was that really, it's hard to see, because, you know, there's things I was watching some of the footage with Tom Cruise flying off the cliff on a motorcycle. But when you see the actual footage, they CGI'd out a huge ramp. Now, I'm not taking anything away from that stunt. Freaking badass. The guy must have done it 14 times. Insane. Doing that once would be more than enough for my adrenaline levels. But, you know, they can make these things even more intense with some good CGI and a good stunt person or a good double that could do that. You know, when people say, well, Tom does all of his stunts, not all of them, because sometimes it's just not convenient. Sometimes they'll have a second unit out doing something and they need, you know, they'll use Tom's stunt double, who's also, you know, when they want it, they're going to use Tom when you're going to see his face. You're going to get a close up and you're going to go, whoa, that's really him, but a lot of times there's a mixture of those things and CGI and green screens and all the other things. But it's so much cooler to see. You can do some things that are so much more spectacular now because the line between is that real or not pretty much gone. It's hard to know.
And regardless, I just have so much respect for the stunt department, and thankfully they're starting to get their accolades at the.
Yeah, they're actually going to do Oscars this year after the piddly little BS. Here's it was like in memoriam for gosh sakes.
You're good.
It was just a little bit disappointing. I mean, I saw a lot of people like legendary. They picked the right people. I mean, they picked people who've been doing this, 40-some years, and they picked the best ones. No two ways about it. But it's funny. I'm starting to do some conventions now, and I had somebody, when he saw that I was announced, went, ugh. It's like, thank you for that. The scene that you really liked in the film that you just mentioned, this guy, not the actor. And we're supposed to be in the background. If you can tell it's me, somebody screwed it. But, hey, it's not always easy out there. And we're doing, sometimes the most intense scene is a stuntman because it had to be. And so when somebody kind of thinks that it's not that big a deal, it's like, well, I get it, I did some acting parts too, which is also fun. That's what I really wanted to be when I got into the movie business, but it just kind of turned out this way. But yeah, it's nice to see people getting their recognition for it because action films are 80% of the box office, so somebody out there is doing some work, and it's nice to see him
deserves the accolades.
Pat on the back for it, sure.
Well, we love them here, and this might be my favorite top 5 ever. That's all I'm saying. So I appreciate it. Before we get to some questions, we do have a comment here. What is a stunt you've done that looks super easy on film, but the development of it was actually super intricate, and vice versa?
That's a good one. Going to run through the things. I've had 7 concussions. Hang on a sec. Weed through a lot of weeds in there. The one that was the stunt for License to Drive going through the window was actually, it was the first time I ever thought to myself, I could buy it. This could be bad. This could go very poorly. There's things where it just looks like you're just diving through a window, but since I'm landing on a follow vehicle, I can't go too far and I can't go too short. And you don't want to land on top of the camera. That would be bad. I mean, that would be bad for a lot of reasons. But you also don't want to miss the vehicle. You don't want to get run over by the vehicle. So it's one of those things you got to kind of, I'm going through a big thick piece of glass again, and you can only hit it so hard because you need to make it through, but then you don't want to hit it so hard that you overshoot your landing. So stuff like that. In the film, it's a dream sequence and it's fairly comic, so maybe the intensity isn't as evident. But I did that one twice, and both times I thought, oh boy, I really don't want to do this wrong. And it was my first really kind of, I thought one of my bigger stunts. That actually was, other guys were like, oh, that's a great stunt. I wish I'd have done it.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, and it's the opening. It's like one of the first real stunts you see in the film. So it's in the opening sequence. So thank you. That is.
Yeah, Smash. Thank you for sharing it.
Smash.
Yeah. I did want to ask. So I read through your website, and I was doing some research on you, and so I read that your first Screen Actors Guild job was doubling as a teenager in a Wes Craven Disney TV show. Yeah,
Wes did a lot of TV. Not that it was as well known. Wes really. I was also Wes's web developer later in life.
Oh, nice.
Did a few shows for him. But when we did that one, Wes did a bunch of Disney shows. He would just do episodic television. And this was kind of a goofy, made-for-TV movie. They used to do something back in the day called The Wide World of Disney, or Disney's Magical World, or something like that, every Thursday night. And they would do like an hour and a half, like a full-length movie. And this was one of those. It was called Case Busters. And I was literally just sitting in the past. Good friend of mine was a guy named Tony Caesar, who did 18 of Wes's films, totals and stuff. And he brought me in because I was the right height. I'm a skinny guy, or at least I was, 120 pounds, 5'6", skinny little arms, spindly little body. And so I made a good double for a kid. And he said, if you do stunts, you don't ever have to just call. You just come.
Which leads me to my next question.
Yes.
Which is, we talked about, initially you wanted to get into acting.
Yeah.
And one of your first big acting gigs was as a street gang leader in Predator 2.
Yes.
And I heard that, in some of my research, you had a bit of an issue in the audition, or something happened in the audition.
Oh, yeah. Well,
and
the
you got
audition, I
advice
went in,
from.
you know, you look at me, I don't look street. You know, they're looking for gang members. And I remember going to the audition and I'm wearing your typical 1980s Lacoste, you know, alligator shirt. And I walk in and I'm like, there is no chance I'm going to get this part. I'm there, so I'm going to go in. And there was this guy named Alex Chapman. He's in the film too. Got a big, crazy, broken nose, big tuft of white hair. He's got tattoos everywhere. He's got tattoos of spider webs in his armpits and flies on his elbows like they're crawling out of the crazy. And the guy's hilarious, very, very funny. Seen him around on different shows. And they said, we're looking for a gang member and his crony. Well, Alex outweighs me by a good 60 pounds, 80 pounds. So I'm obviously the crony. And we go in and I just thought, you know what? There's no chance I'm getting this part. So let's make sure Alex does. And so I really just played up to him. You know, I was just his little stooge. And they said, oh, that was great, guys. Can you switch parts? I thought, oh, well, they want to see what Alex this is. And so again, I just having absolutely no real thought, even hope or dream of getting this part, I made sure I really played. And they called me later and they said, hey, Mr. Perry, we would like to have you be the subway gang. And I said, no. They said, you don't want to do it? I said, no, you got the wrong guy. You want to talk to Alex Chap. He said, no, Alex is doing it too, but you're the gang leader. I said, get it. And they said, it was so funny watching this little tiny guy bossing around these big monkey. And we just thought it was the funniest thing ever. Like,
honestly, like that, I mean, still like it's a good, I know that movie well, and we're rewatching a lot of this stuff
and the thing that I learned was when you're in an audition, don't worry about you, worry about the actors around, you know, put the effort, put the time, put the focus outside of yourself, because then it makes you more believable for one, and it gives your other actors something to work on, you know, something to work with. And I'm sure I gave him all sorts of, you know, bizarre, fun stuff to play with. And it was one of those things like, wow, where was that experience earlier in my career? That would have been good to know back when I was, you know, auditioning for Full Metal Jacket or, you know, doing all these other movies I was up for and just stunk to high heaven at those auditions. But, you know,
but all those experiences led to you being able to be free with it. And it's a memorable movie.
And it's, you know, doing that was like the best show ever. It was the embodiment of everything I ever wanted since I was a little kid. You know, I wanted to be in movies and I wanted to be an actor. And we walk onto the set and there's a plaque at 20th Century Studios right in front of the building, and it says Wizard of Oz was filmed in this room in 1930 or whatever. This is hallowed, you know? And I go inside and there's the whole set for the Predator ship, you know, with the wall of all the trophies, including an alien, Easter egg at the time. All of this stuff. And I'm like, this is everything I ever wanted since I was 5. And I'm getting a chance to do that thing. How freaking is that?
I think it's amazing.
Oh my God. It was just the best day ever. And then I meet Bill Paxton, who's the coolest guy in the world. There's a whole story about him.
Yeah. He gave you advice, right? Like
oh God.
What was that?
Okay, I'm going to tell it as fast as I can.
No,
I
you're
have
good.
told this before, but I'm sitting in a chair and Bill comes over and he says, "Is your name Bill?" I said, "Yeah." "Is it really?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "You're sitting in my chair." I'm like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And I'm just, you know, sorry, sir. And he's like, no, calm down. And he sees me the way I'm dressed and he says, "What are you doing today?" Just one of the gang members. He said, "Don't say it." And I said, "Eh." He's like, "Did you ever see Terminator?" Of course. And he said, the opening scene, Arnold's walking around naked and he says, "Laundry night?" You know, and he has this very funny little scene with this other actor. And he said, that was the film that I got noticed. That playing some punk. He said, today is,
nice.
Do not let it go too quickly. You only get one shot at having your first in a speaking, in a major. This is that. Today is the day your career becomes something absolutely amazing. So relax, do your best work today. Enjoy it for everything you can. And I get emotional every time I tell that story because it was the nicest thing.
Yeah.
He just took some poor schlub and just made his week. Not because he owed me, because that's who he, and he was just the kind of man. And everybody tells me a great Bill Paxton story after I tell that story. Everybody's got one, that he was just this very kind, generous to the extreme with time and with what his, you know, with how he dealt with other actors. And it was the best week of my life. Sorry, Honk. It was the best week ever. It was everything I ever wanted it to be. And Bill really had a huge part in that, because I probably would have just figured, just do your little stupid part and get out, you know? But he's like, no, embody, have fun with it, make this the best time. And I really felt, you know, like I could after that. I was like given the permission to, you know, stick my chest out and do good work, because Bill told me, and I'm not just some, you know, bit part actor someplace. I'm actually in a real Hollywood film for real with line. And so, yeah, that's one of my favorite things ever. That's why when people ask me if you had, if you had 1 week of your life you could live over, I'm like, sorry, kids, your birth was really neat. But let me tell you the Bill Paxton story.
I would tell that story. Oh, I love that. That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate you.
I said, thank you, Bill, wherever you are.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's someplace
peace,
nice.
One of the best. Smash wrote again. He has a question for you. He says, "Who did you emulate the most with your stunts, and who would you recommend potential stuntmen watch if they wanted to grow in the field and see what excellence looks like?"
Boy, there's so many good people. There's names that are just legends. There's a guy named, the whole Rondell family, R.A. Rondell, probably one of them. The Epper family, Epper women too. Jeannie Epper still was doing stunts till he was 50 or so. A good friend of mine named Jeff Haberstad, legend. Just guy did stuff I wouldn't dream of. But I will tell you, the thing that you got to get of these guys is not that they were just tough. It's not that they were just skilled. It's that they removed every single variable that do wrong to make sure that they did that shot exactly the way that direct meant it, and rarely, if ever, got hurt because they were smart enough to make sure that they could do that stunt 10 times if they needed to. And just really, it's not a lot of cowboys, like rodeo guys get into stunts and that sort of thing, but it's not a place where you're gonna wing it. Everything you do has got to be really, really precise. You got a camera, 18 inches away, 3 feet away, whatever the distance is, and they're measuring that distance because there's going to be a focal point. And if you're 6 inches too far away, you're going to blur. Now you just screwed up the shot. All this time and effort, and you screwed up the shot by not hitting your mark? What's wrong with you? So it's not so much about being tough or fearless or anything. It's about being able to do the thing they ask you to do, not get hurt, but make it look like it hurt, if that's... and just really make sure that it's repeatable. Make sure that what you do, you can do over and over. Because, like the thing from Nightmare 6, I had to do it a lot of times. Not because it was my fault, but because there was an issue and they needed to solve that issue. And so you got to be able to do it lots of times because you get paid every time you do it too. So, you want if you have to do it 5 times, it sort of sucks, but that's how you make the best money. But I would say, you look at some of these, obviously you look at, going all the way back to Buster Keaton. So many of these guys were just technicians, just so practiced and so good at what they did. There's a big hanging brass balls on some of those guys, but for the most part, their skill was making sure it looked good on camera too. A lot of things look really dangerous that weren't as dangerous as it looked, but on camera, it's how you sell it. Somebody punching you in the face is not about the puncher. It's about the receiver. He's got to sell that punch because he's not really hitting, or at least not much. And so it's the person who gets hit that did the stunt. The guy who threw the punch, I'm swinging arm. So I would say if somebody really wanted to get into it, learn precision in your martial arts, your motorcycle riding, whatever that skill is that you're going to do, fire, tumbling, and all those things. Make sure that you feel like I know exactly where I'm going to land, and I know when I'm going to land, and I know how I'm going to get out of that frame without anybody seeing my face. So it's really more about that. A lot of people go to stunt schools, and there's nothing wrong with that, but nobody ever admits that they went to a stunt school. They go, oh no, I learned it from these guys. That's the way. It's a weird tradition. People expect you to have learned it from your forebears, people who did it from ahead of you. But stunt schools are fine. But it's really, again, about knowing what the director wants and giving them exactly what they want as many times as they want it. And the best, the really legendary names out there, and the guys who did the original Stuntman, Fall Guys TV show. A lot of those guys were just the best, and that's why they were on that show for so long. I give a lot of long-winded answers.
Hey, listen, nothing wrong with that.
Tell me to shut up here and there if you would, please.
No, that's a great answer. I will not tell you to shut up. I do. So I was reading with Return of the Living Dead. You actually kind of went through the gauntlet a little bit with that. You got your scenes where you got hit by run over by a meat truck. You were electrocuted, and you got stabbed through the mouth with a screwdriver. What was it like performing all of these stunts, these gags for the movie, and playing into it?
So much fun. One of the things when I first got there, they said, "Okay, you're going to be a double for the character of Billy," and I said, "Okay." And we did the stunt where he gets hit with a meat truck, and so we did it. And we did it a couple of times. Went pretty well. And so I was kind of packing up my stuff, and they said, "What's going on?" And I said, "Didn't I just die?" And they said, "You were dead when we started. You're a zombie." And I thought, oh, that's so cool. And they said, yeah, that actually, the meat truck did not kill you. It did not destroy you. You got to kill the brain, kill the ghoul. So I'm like, oh. And they said, oh, yeah, we got a whole bunch of stuff. And then when they finished with the stunts for that, they said, we've got some other zombie stuff. So we're going to send you over to makeup. And, if you're into this stuff, if you were into the ghouly stuff, makeup room, people go, oh, I was in makeup for 4 hours. You got to be in makeup for 4 hours. That's the most fun. I know it pulls out, you lose an eyebrow hair here and there and all that, but it's so much fun. If you're into that kind of stuff, and I always was, it's fun. And so they let me be what they called a utility zombie, which sounds very,
that's awesome.
That's not just because I got electrocuted. It means that you're not a particular character. You are maybe more than one zombie. Today you're this blue guy. Tomorrow you're this green guy. You're a doctor zombie. Tomorrow you're a, whatever. And so it was so much fun. Every day you never knew what we were going to do. It was just going to be, I'd say, what are we doing tomorrow? Say, you'll find out when you get here, which was always a little daunting, but it was so much fun. And I was doing 2 shows at that time. I was doing one show during the day, and then I was doing a zombie movie at night because they were primarily shooting at night. And people are like, how do you sleep? I'm like, I know, I was so excited I could hardly sleep. And they're like, no, I mean, when did you sleep? I'm like, coffee's good. Coffee's your food.
Yeah, coffee helps you get through.
And adrenaline. I mean, it was so much fun. This was what I wanted to do since I was a little kid. So the idea of being able to do it night and day, I mean, that was a dream. And so, yeah, I was getting maybe 2 or 3 hours of sleep. They, finish my makeup and I go lay in my trailer and hopefully get a couple hours before they got. So yeah, there was that was, zombie movies and that was a fun zombie. I mean, a comedy zombie movie. It wasn't, gruesome and, ripping guts out and chewing on them and that sort of stuff. And it was just like the best time ever of my life, because I was getting to do the thing I wanted to do. And twice a day, all my friends were just rolling their eyes like, God, you're lucky that you're such a because they're all 5'10", 180 pounds, like everybody else. There was about 5 that were 5'5" to 5'7", 150-ish or 120 to 150 pounds. My arms were never better than this. I had to live with them, but it ended up being work. So, yeah, it was really just one of those things. Zombie movies are so much. Because if you like the makeup and all that stuff, the Fear of the Walking Dead, all those shows, the people who work on them, you want to be the most gruesome zombie ever. You want to be the most recognizably torn apart, nasty, thing. And so, all the fun you can have.
Well, you worked on a pretty bizarre horror movie called People Under the Stairs, another Wes Craven film. And
another Wes Craven.
You talked about how there was some sort of like oddity on there. I read some like with the Odd Couple, as you call them.
The kind of funny story with that is I was one of the people under the stairs, and if you haven't seen the film, the parents of these that live in this house, if the kids disobey, they can't deal with it. They poke their eyes out or cut their tongues out and shove them under the house alive. Well, they got to eat something, so they'll eat the mailman, the Girl Scouts, utility guy, whatever they got to eat. So at the end of the film, there's a big revolt. Decide they're going to attack and they're going to kill the parents who've done this to them. And so I have to come bursting through a wall and grab Wendy Roby. And I'm sitting there and I've got what we called scrotum over my face in this mask. And I'm standing right next to Wes. And Wes didn't really know my name. And so he's looking around and he's like, where's that guy? Where's Wally? I'm standing there and I don't want to be the one he yells at. So I'm just sitting there very meekly. And he's like, where is he? God damn it. And the guy says, do you mean William? He goes, yeah, I'm right here, Wes. Stay close next time. And so it became a kind of a funny thing because I actually emerged from a wall. So the fact that he was calling me Wally and I get to bust through a wall. In fact, I have a crew jacket that says Wally on it because I get the guy bursting through the wall. But Wes was always a very cool guy, very much fun. And, it was kind of a laugh afterward because he just really loved making. And that one, it's not my favorite, but it could be soon because they're making a remake. And it's Jordan Peele. And I love Jordan. Love Jordan Peele. Everything he's done. It's not always the very best, but it's always the very weirdest. And it's a thinky horror film. You don't just, it's not just, slash, splatter, we're done. It's always something intense. I'm really looking forward to seeing him. I've seen previews for that. I'll be seeing that alone. My wife was never going to see that one. But there's so much good looking stuff in that. And the fact that, the story of People Under the Stairs has a lot of racial overtones in it. And so I think Jordan taking that on, as a black director is probably going to be a lot better than some old white guy, who was trying his best. But I just think he's going to I didn't find it funny enough to be a great comedy or scary enough to be a great scary film. And I'm saying this, I shouldn't be saying this. I'm doing a photo op in full costume at Scarefest. People are like, you didn't like this movie. Why are you dressed up? It was just not my favorite of Wes's things. Wes did a lot of great work. That one, not scary enough to be scary, not funny enough to be funny. Not my favorite, but I get to be Wally. Fun.
Oh, that's awesome. And Wally, I'll always remember Wally whenever I watch that movie now, too.
And the other interesting part of that, you see me attacking Wendy Roby's legs, and people are like, how did you not hurt her? Because I'm not attacking her. She is attacking me. I come through the wall and she's kicking. And we do that when you're doing stunts because you want the actor not to get hurt, of course. And so if they're attacking you, it looks very much the same. They're kicking and I'm trying to grab her leg and bite it, but my hands are open. So she's biting, and I'm biting, and she's kicking my hands. That way, if for any reason she feels unsafe, she feels like she's off balance, she feels like she's going to get hurt, she can just stop. I'll stop with her. I'm just blocking getting kicked in the face. She's actually doing most of the work in that scene. So in that one there, it was just kind of one of those things where people are like, wow, that was really intense. It's like, yeah, I'm all but just trying to keep my teeth from getting kicked out. So little stunt thing for
that was such a
do
great.
That in a lot of films.
It's such a great scene too. Like it's such an intense scene.
Yeah.
You do such a great job in
Burn
that.
in hell.
I do
say that to their child.
I have to fanboy here a little bit. Star Trek: The Next Generation. Yeah. I love you were Wesley Crusher's stunt double.
And the first real stunt in this show, if you watch Encounter at Farpoint, they go to the holodeck and he falls into water. And people, it's funny because I see Will from time to time, and people go, "Why would you have to do a stunt for that? He just falls into a pond." That's reclaimed water at the Huntington Library. So I am literally falling into sewage. Pretty sewage, but sewage nonetheless. And so that's why we did that. And I doubled Wes, the character of Wes, only because, and this is one of those times where it's just pays to be skinny. I walk in with a few other stunt guys. They're looking around. I'm the same height as Will at that time, and they're asking, how big is your chest? How big is your chest? How big is your chest? And he says to me, how big is your chest? I'm like, 35 inches. He goes, you. Because everybody else was like kind of barrel-chested gymnast kind of guy. And I was not. So I got the part just because I was the skinniest guy there. And that first year, they were saying they were kind of trying to keep their budget down, even though it was like $1 million an episode, which was way more than anybody had ever invested in a single episode. And so they let me stunt coordinate my first year. And my friends were just so green with, and you got a series your first year and you're coordinating? It's like, yeah,
that's
pretty
awesome.
Cool. And this show was so much fun. We did the one Justice, where it's like basically Planet of the Hot Blondes.
I remember that one. Yeah, when he gets in trouble.
Episode. Yep. Wes or Will, I should say, was they said these people make love at the drop of the hat. So Will was walking around dropping his hat around all the cute girls, seeing where it would get him. Didn't get him anywhere, but what a really cool guy. The only problem is Wes grew 6 inches in a seat, rat bastard, and I could no longer double him. He went from 5'6" to 6 foot, no lie, in just a year. And so I had to call some friends and go, all right, how skinny are you? I'm going to refer you to a freaking series, rat bastard. I'm telling Will, stay away from milk, dude. Don't you smoke? Can't you do something to alter your genetics? Yeah, but no, and he's a great guy. I mean, and was really fun to work with at the time. One of those, I worked with a lot of kids, and he was just one of the ones you could just tell, super bright, super smart.
Yeah. We've had him on the show. He was a wonderful
really?
guy.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So now we've had Wesley Crusher and Wesley Crusher stunt double.
Yeah, I have a great picture of me with him, and it's one of those things where it's just like it's one that really takes you back, to a certain time. And he was really cool. I wished him happy birthday on his birthday through Facebook, and he actually responded. I was like, I kind of geeked out too.
Oh man, when we get to, I have another podcast called Warp Factor Fiction, which you are always welcome. It's a rewatch. When we get to the first season, we'd love to have you back on.
Yeah, love it.
Talk about that.
I still have the invitation to the premiere party.
Nice.
And there's a few like little relics that I've hung on to. And that's one of those ones, again, I just look at it and it's just teleport. I mean, thank you. It just sends you right back, just like, oh, remember when you got that in the mail? Remember how exciting it was to be on like the most expensive television show ever created. And we all thought it was going to bomb. We were convinced it was going to bomb. Didn't matter how good it was. People were never going to accept us. And then they did, I thought, well, they'll make it through a season, 6 years, too bad. Yeah. And then how many spawns? I mean, my gosh, I don't
so
even know
many.
them all.
Jeez. Well, I have to ask because you were on it. What was it like walking on the Enterprise D and that bridge?
It's funny. At the time, I don't think I saw the significance of it. Okay. I mean, it's funny because Gene Roddenberry came down, to talk to on the first week, just to kind of set a tone. It's like, look, we are interlopers on some hallowed ground here. Everything's going to be new. Everything's going to be very different. But we are we're treading, in people's memory banks here, and we got to really be respect to that. So I think as I walked around the set, it was more curiosity. It's like, wait, where are we now? What is this? This is the holodeck. Where are we here? And so it was more curiosity because like, well, they didn't have this on the other show. And I was privy to the first whole script, but not the scripts of all the other shows, only the shows that I worked on. So I didn't really see how things, really played out until I saw the premiere with everybody else. I didn't understand the holodeck at first and what that was used for. So it was very different. So a lot of times it was more trying to get an understanding of what the hell are we doing here? What is this? What is there? Because there's green screens in a lot of places, like, and green screen was fairly, wasn't as nearly as sophisticated as it is now. So there was a lot of special effects that were kind of cutting edge at the time, where I didn't even know what we were doing or why we were doing it. So some of the sets were just green screens. Walk into a big green room. Okay, they'll put the stuff. They'll put the forest in behind it.
I love it. That's fantastic. I actually have one more question for you, if that's all right. I know we've been kind of going a little longer.
Away, I'm here.
So reading this, like, I was kind of floored by it because it's such a huge tour. You worked in 1992, in the summer of 92, on the Dangerous World Tour with Michael Jackson. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Time. Yeah, a buddy of mine, I had sort of decided I wasn't going to do stunts so much anymore. And I got into the business of building websites. I built Wes's web. I built a bunch of different sites. And I built one for a friend of mine named Kenny Gibbs. And Kenny was Chuck Norris's stunt double, among others. And he did this thing called the Rocket. And it was the old Bell and Howell Labs rocket from the 60s. And he put this thing on your back, you strap in, hit the gun, and off you go. And you can fly for 21 seconds. And Kenny said, I want you to build me a website. And I said, Kenny, and this is the early days of the web. I said, Kenny, nobody's going to buy anything that costs more than $100 on the internet. And this was $20,000. I said, I don't know what you want me to do. I mean, and video was really slow and, it was a real pain in the butt. But I said, I'll do it. So I built it for him. He called me 2 weeks later and he said, hey, Michael Jackson just called. I said, there was a local radio host called Michael Jackson. I said, the radio guy? And he goes, no, the entertainer, the singer. I'm like, shut up. He's booked me for 3 shows a week all across Europe and Asia. I'm like, I charge that. And so this thing runs on pure hydrogen, the purest hydrogen peroxide. And so at one point he said, hey, you free for the next few days? And I said, yeah, I need all of these tubs, these huge 50-gallon things of pure hydrogen peroxide driven cross-country as fast as possible. We got to get in there in 3 days. It's got to get on the boat to get to Europe. And I didn't understand that this stuff is so caustic. If it touches your skin, it just burns a hole right through you. And I'm driving 150 gallons of this stuff in the back of a van, going as fast as humanly possible with another guy, not sleeping. He'd sleep when the other guy was driving. So I get back and, we've done all this. And he says, hey, I really owe you. And I said, yeah, you do. So another month goes by and he said, hey, I got a guy that's on the show that's having kind of a nervous breakdown. He's got a lot of stuff going on. I need somebody I can trust. Can you come to Europe? Gosh, let me think. What was I doing? I was going to do my hair. Yes, I can go. And he says, it's all on Michael. And we stayed in the best hotel. We wore our crew jackets everywhere, so we never paid because people would just come up to you and go, you're with Michael Jackson? Here, have money. It was like, here, come to my restaurant. Here, have my daughter. And so every, 3 nights a week, I would see Michael on stage, either from the wings or I would sometimes bring a chair and sit in front of the front. Like there's this huge fence and 100,000 fans. And I put my little lawn chair in front of him, looking up at Michael, watch the show from my own little vantage point there just to make them feel awful because that's the kind of horrible human I am. But he was the most amazing performer you will ever see, bar none. I never saw any of the bad stuff that people say. I didn't even see a hint of that. I saw nothing but the most generous, weird guy ever. But watching him on stage, it was, I mean, I can't imagine anything. I've seen, Elvis, videos. I've seen Beatles videos. It was that caliber of just talent beyond what anybody could understand. Just amazing. And an odd guy, for sure. He'd run around before the show in full makeup and go out in the audience and just hang out with people because he never got a chance to do that. And then he'd run around and unplug all your gear just to be a dick. But I got to travel from England to Romania and everything in between, usually 3 shows a week. And I was being paid a sum of money I couldn't understand because I couldn't spend it because everybody just would give us stuff. And they feed you 3 meals a day and they'd put you in these beautiful hotels. I was like, I'm never going to get a chance to do this again. So I went bungee jumping into the Rhine River. We did all sorts of crazy shit because I'm never going to get back here. I'm a poor little guy. I did never see that happening again.
Enjoy it while you can, right? Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And every city he would quietly give away $2 million to it and make sure they had all the food and beds and clothes they needed for as long as he could, $2 million. There was this quick thing where we were in Romania and he bought a bunch of toys and things for that previous year. And he goes to the place kind of secretly and he says, where are all the toys we bought? Where's all this stuff? And they said, well, Michael, sometimes the caretakers, who are volunteers, they take the stuff back to their own. So we were flying around on a plane called an undrop. And for the nerds who don't, an undrop-off is like the biggest plane that there is. You can drive tanks 3 abreast inside this on 2 floors. Oh. So all the gear is in that thing. And he turns to this guy, Benny, and he says, Benny, empty out the undrop-off. Go get some toys. I visit. And he says, Michael, do you understand how much gear is in there? I mean, it's 2 a.m. in the closest place I could even think of. And we don't have time for it. And he turns to Benny and I didn't ask.
I mean, listen.
I'm telling you, just do it. Get it done.
Michael Jackson says it.
There was no big press junket to do it. He was just a really generous guy who had shitloads of money, but he also cared about the people that he worked with. I knew other people who worked for him just coincidentally. I knew a guy that happened to be his studio man. How do I know so many people that know Michael Jackson? I mean, most people don't know anybody that knows Michael Jackson. Awesome. I have 2 guys in my friend group, vastly different fields who both worked for him. Crazy.
That's awesome.
But yeah, just one of those once in a lifetime, I mean, not even once, one in a million experiences. It was just one of those things. My brother Ron is a little jealous of me. Somebody goes, "Why are you living the life I want?" I don't know. I guess I just never say no. He called me, "Can you go to Europe?" I'm like, "Yeah." It's like, well, aren't you going to have to quit your job? Duh.
Yeah, but
you know what? Do that.
After a life of work, you put it in and you got there. And
I mean, the stunt thing happened just because I didn't say no. He's like, Choney asked me, can you do fight scenes and stuff? I'm like, oh yeah, I was a martial artist from way back. Skateboarding, motorcycles, what do you need? He's like, so you'll do it? I'm like, yeah, no question. No. Like, why would I question it? You're going to get my union card. I'm going to be a Screen Actors Guild member. That's going to be the best. So I think a lot of times it's just, being somebody wants to work with, be friendly, be generous, be grateful, and most people if you've got the skills they want and you're a decent person, that's probably as much as anything why people worked me as a stuntman. I wasn't the best stuntman. There's no 2 ways about that. I got a lot of work because of my height and my weight, but I wasn't nearly as badass skill I knew, but I'm fun.
I don't know. I can't fit in a dryer. Even if I could, I don't know if I get in.
The crazy thing is if you ever see this movie, the scene's out there somewhere, you can't even tell I'm in there. It just looks like clothes. It's like, I got friggin',
scars.
Nobody would even know I was in there. They could have just put a bunch of clothes because nobody could see me. The only bitterness in my life.
I did ask you for movie recommendations. Before we get there, I want to ask you a question about your, right now you're coming up on October 17th, 18th, and 19th. You're going to be at Scarefest weekend in Lexington, Kentucky.
Yeah.
I want to ask, going to these conventions and especially the horror, sci-fi, things like that, how is that for you? How do you, what's it like, that experience, being able to talk to fans about
I never knew, up until about maybe a year and a half ago, I didn't know that any of these films survived with any audience. My best friend Lee, they say the Ghostface guy, he started doing conventions. I'm like, why would anybody want to talk to you? Now, he's my friend for 54 years, and he's a douche. Everybody knows that. So I couldn't understand why people would want to talk to him. But he was the guy that killed Drew. He was in The Mask when they killed Drew Barrymore in the opening scene of Scream, which is one of the most iconic horror film openings of the last 30 years. And people know it was him. So I was like, oh. So he goes off and he starts doing these. And I would help him by doing some of his social media. He's not a computer guy. And people would ask me, well, did you do movies? And I'm like, yeah, but nothing you'd seen. Like, well, what would you read? I was in a bunch of nightmares. They're like, you were, wait a minute, stop. It's like, what? Like, you were in Nightmare on Elm Street 3? Yeah. What scene? And I'm like, the wheelchair thing. No way. And this, all of a sudden, this respect and this awe that I had never experienced. I was like, oh, yeah. I mean, I did a lot of them. I mean, and I was almost ashamed of them because I thought my friends would think I was, like, oh, you were in nothing but horror movies? Yank. So it was no big deal, and then people are saying, no, those are classics now. And I just didn't know that. I just kind of thought they were, kind of throwaways. You'd go see it once, you'd never hear of it ever again. And then I started getting into the horror community, which is a very strong community, very much like the Star Trek community, like the anime community. There's a whole fan base for these things that is just goes to these conventions. And to me, Scarefest is by far the largest I've even ever heard of. It's 25,000 people come. And I've been going online and talking to some folks and making friends by the hundreds, just the nicest, funnest people. They happen to like horror films. That's just their thing. Yeah. And so going to these things, I just get to tell stories like I'm doing now. And I love to tell stories. And then, I'll sign a picture for them or I'll sign their poster. They're having a bunch of different reunions this particular one. They're having like all the Nightmare on Elm Street reunion of all of them, 1 to 6, and then also the Lost Boys, the Monster Squad parts on those as well. So they're like, "Oh, dude, you got to be there because I mean, I got all those posters and I got to get you to sign them." I'm like, "Bring it!" And people are talking about things like, "Oh, we do like a friendship brace exchange." I'm like, "I want to do that." So I had these made up. You can see it in nothing. It says,
"Oh, that's cool."
What would Freddie do? As a Christian, I'm going to have to take some heat for that, but it's still funny. But now there's hundreds of people writing to me saying, can I exchange bracelets with you? I'm like, I got to go buy more. So I had to order a shitload of them. But I'm really looking forward just to hanging out with people that are like, you talk about going to Star Trek things and you geek out, but nobody judges you for geeking out. In fact, they celebrate your geekiness. It's like, people come in full costume and nobody says, hey, lamer, nice Freddy outfit. Aren't you about 200 pounds too heavy for that? No, there's no snark. No. Well, at least not publicly. People have a good time and they're just weird out and have a good time. 25,000 people having fun. Nobody gets hurt. Nobody's judged. Nobody's, it's just for fun. And to go to these things, they fly me out, they put me in a nice hotel and everybody treats me like I'm a movie star, and that's fun. I looked upon most of my work as being something that would be thrown away and never looked at. So to have it now sort of be rewarded with people who are like, in awe, it's like, I don't know that I deserve that, but I'll take it. And so it's basically, 28 hours of just yakking and telling stories and going to parties and having a good time with the nicest people you'd ever. So yeah, I would love to do a million more. I don't know how many. A lot of them, they don't want stunt people because they don't think stunt people are important or that people would want their signature. I get it, but this one they're letting me, so I'm gonna have the best time. Live it up. I've been posting too much about it. People are probably getting tired of me, but it's just I want them to know I'm going to be there and I want them to come by. Because it's going to be fun.
Lexington, Kentucky, October 17th, 18th, 19th. Go listen to his stories and go get Bill's autograph. Absolutely. Yeah.
People come from all over the world to these things too. I saw some people coming from out of the country just to go to Lexington for this one because they got so many people going to be there. So it is a hoot.
They are such a good time, and I'm glad you're going to be there. And I know a lot of my friends down in Kentucky are going to go and hang out too.
Hope so. They'll get a free bracelet if nothing else.
You need to trade though. You got to bring your own.
Yeah, you probably should trade. If they get me to sign something, you'll get a bracelet.
There you go. You got the bracelet for free. I love it. And I want to say thank you so much for joining us tonight and hanging out and telling us stories. This has been a really good time, and I love.
Thank you.
I
know I've been yakking too much, but
no. You have not. You have
what
not.
Am I going to do?
We love stories here, so it's okay.
Oh, and you got to see the fancy. A fan gave me this. Is that the coolest thing you ever saw? That is a photo accurate Freddy glove wrapped around that.
That is really
wicked. And just gave it to me. And I found out she charges $150 for these. And I tried to find her to get but she just like, oh, you're just like a hero. And I'm like, thank you, but gosh, and it's just like, that's how nice they're just.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Our community is fantastic.
And
I love it.
Now I can say I'm a snob. I've been on your show, so I can.
Yes,
be a snob.
You're the stunt snob. We're gonna give you that moniker.
Allow me to turn my nose up at everything else. Garbage,
stunts better than
filth. If I wasn't in it was shit.
So with this coming up and stuff like that, you do. I'm guessing you do a lot of the circuit with podcasts and stuff like that. Like, you've talked about questions. What's something that you want to share, maybe off the top of your head, for our fans that maybe you haven't shared before?
I guess, and I don't know if there's something I haven't shared before, but it's the, I look back on all this time and I recognize how fortunate I was. A lot of people have a dream that they want to do, whatever job it was, whatever thing it was, and they don't always get to, and I'm very, very grateful for that. But one of the things I've found, I've got a screenplay. I might make a movie at 62 years. I never imagined, never dreamt about it. It was never a plan. But I'm finding that if your enthusiasm for it is there, you can get a camera now cheap. A little, Sony F3 can make a movie. So for people out there that talk about wanting to make movies, it's just not as hard as you can do amazing work. If you've got a great story, go make it. Somebody got mad at me the other day. So the only problem with you building your movie is you're not fucking making it. And I was like, they said, you're planning everything. Don't stop planning and go make your movie, because it's a great story and people will want to see it. Don't worry about it. And I really took that to heart. If you got that thing that you want to do, don't, life's short so much. You got to get out and just do that thing. And I've talked to so many filmmakers and I've seen some schlock shit. I mean, I've seen some horrible things, but I also see some stuff that shows so much promise. If they had a little more money and a little more, a little more experience, maybe they'll figure out some of those camera angles and they'll figure out how to do some things. But I've seen some really great stories that just need technical ability. And so for the folks out there, if you think, God, I could never do that, not true. I've seen so many people who said they couldn't do it, just do it, just on pluck and enthusiasm, just blind enthusiasm, But if it's a good story, people will watch it. The production values are much higher than they used to be on the least. There's phones making movies. I think Spike Lee made an entire film on iPhone.
Yep.
It can be done, So I just think for all those people out there that say, oh gosh, I would love to do that, go do it. Don't worry about what anybody thinks about it. It's your movie. Fuck them. Have fun, because it is fun. It's really, I tell people that the thing that I remember most about it is all the fun. I don't have any horrible stories of shitty actors being rude. Don't really have them. Because people that are doing something that's really creative and fun, they have time. You can't be rude to one another when you have time, So if you got a story, go make your movie. See what happens. Let me know.
Love it. And that's now when you're doing that movie, please come hang out with us, talk to us about it and such. We'd love to hear more.
There's such a twist going on with this right now that I can't even tell you about. And I'm so excited about it. The people that are getting involved in this are just bigger than I dreamed. And yeah, we're just, every day we're like another inch closer. And when this one comes out, you won't eat with me, but you will allow me to be on.
I love it.
You'll find out why you won't eat with me after. Has nothing to do with anybody, there's no vomiting in this. Well, there might be a little bit of vomiting.
We'll find out.
We'll find out. But it's one of those things where people are really like, you seemed funny before. Now you seem funny. Not funny, ha ha. It's like, good. I scared you, you rat bastard. I hope you enjoyed it.
Love it. That's the plan. The man with the plan, and it's coming soon. So make sure you check it out. Go check out the books as well. Everything is linked down below. But we ask all of our guests before we let them go for movie recommendations for us to watch and for our fans to watch. So could you supply us?
Go through my list like a rocket. Now they've just had the 50th anniversary of Jaws. Mm-hmm. I find out there are people who have not seen this film. I don't understand them. I don't want to know them, but it blows my mind. You must see Jaws. You must see The Last Starfighter. It was in the early days of CGI and computer generated graphics. It's fucking amazing. It's just one of my favorite films of all time. If it's on 2 minutes in, 2 minutes from the end, I'm going to watch it no matter where I started. What else is in there? Of course, Jurassic Park. These are movies I watched and I got so sucked in that I didn't think about who was in it. I didn't think about anything but, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. Jaws, Last Starfighter. What else did I put on that?
Nobody was one of them.
Oh, Nobody. Love that movie. If you like watching a guy get punched in the face, this is it's Wuthering Heights. It's the Wuthering Heights of getting punched in the face movies. I know that just this week that Nobody 2 came out on streaming. I didn't get a chance to see it in the theater. God, I hope it's as good. I hear it is. And I loved the movie review you gave. I've got to see Spinal Tap. Too.
Oh yeah, check that one out.
I have to tell you, you gave such a great review because there's so many people I know that will go see a movie that was a total turd, that was so bad that I go, oh my God, I can't ever listen to you again. But what you said was so thoughtful, and it gives me such hope for that film that now I must see because somebody I trust, you, has.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I will tell you, I'm the type that tries to look for the good in every movie. So at least there's be warned, there's an optimism there.
Well, and that's okay, I mean, but that particular group of people in Spinal. So I actually had an idea many years ago. I knew somebody that knew Christopher Guest, and I used to play in a band. And I said, I want to do a Spinal Tap tribute band, but I want them to open for.
Oh my God, that would be amazing.
To have them actually open for a cover band that's doing them. They would of course be the big attraction, but we would come on later and play their tunes just for the joke. And Christopher heard it and said, that's great. I love it. I would do it just for the joke, just because it's such a good joke. He said, but we're not playing together right now because we're all doing other things. Nope. Damn it.
One thing I liked about it,
Tap moment.
If you like the original, I always found this with comedians, like you could always tell like really good comedic actors, I should say. Yeah. When they come back, and writers especially, they're coming back in a sort of a revival so many years later. A good movie will not rehash the jokes.
Yes.
It will take those familiar jokes and then like add a payoff. Like, okay, we're here 40 years later and here's the payoff.
Like,
for that.
I'm sure there's a Stonehenge joke in there in that film somewhere. And it's one of those films where the people in it are too good to be that dumb to try and rehash. Like, I mean, I saw Top Gun Maverick, and it's the same. It's the same movie. The volleyball scene now is the beach. This scene, the
only thing I will argue is
they
I think
did
the
so many
better.
things from the first film. I don't mind an homage here and there, but don't copy the freaking thing note for note. I'm sorry, my wife loved that film to death, and I know many people love that movie to death, but it's the same freaking movie. I know that Christopher Guest won't do that. I know that Michael McKean won't do that. They're too smart for that. They're too funny for that, and they don't need to make another movie. They're all old guys. They did it because they wanted to do something funny, and
that's what it felt like.
I pray that you're correct. And I know I expected that not every joke's going to hit. Not every joke in Spinal Tap hit the first time I saw it. But I
would love to hear what you think after you see it, though.
Oh, I can't wait. I'll send you. We'll tour.
Yeah, and we'll get you back on the show. I'd love to talk to you, especially with the process and everything going on. And,
As the new film comes out, I'm just so excited to share it with people. It's one of those things where every time I hand it to an actor, they go, "Oh fuck, I'll be in this for free," and that's the kind of buy-in I want. I'm obviously they'll need to be paid, but I love the buy-in that this is something that really connected with them. And to have every actor, every crew member be that way about really wanting to make not a good first film, but a great, I tell people, I don't want to have people say, what a great first film. No, I want it to be a good film. I want it to stand on its own and be a good film without any of the trappings of, he didn't know this, he didn't know that. No, this is a good, and that's what I'm dying out. And everybody seems to be so gung-ho. I'm actually have a camera I was going to shoot it with, but now we've got real professional gear. So I'm filming sort of the making of, for down the line, so I can look at it and go
something special. I love that. I love that so much. I've always been a big fan of behind the scenes, but I want to say thank you, Bill, for coming on, hanging out with us, talking about it. This was so much fun. Yeah, and I'm learning more and more about stunts. I had such a great time. Thank you.
Throw yourself down a flight of stairs. That's the only way you're going to know.
No, don't. Not anymore.
No, don't do that.
20 years ago, maybe. Not now. I'll stay at the top or the bottom. That's it.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, just do a couple, just for fun.
Seriously, keep in touch with us. We'd love to have you back on, talk more stories, because this was just a really great time. And I know we've only scratched. Thank you again, Bill. We're going to say goodnight.
For all the people that are watching, hit that subscribe button, you lazy bastards. Come on, subscribe, buy stuff, support this channel. This is a much better, to all the other podcasts, this one was better than you. Really, seriously, what a great show. The format's great, and it really lends itself to conversation instead of just one person telling the same sad story over and over.
We do love good conversation on this show for sure, but and I can't wait to hear more. So please feel free, reach out to me. Let's talk about it. I want to hear what you have to say about Spinal Tap, but we're going to let you go because we're going to close out the show.
Please
but
do.
I want to say thank you again so much for jumping in.
Remember, thanks. Nice meeting you, producer Paul, as well.
Yes, sir. Scarefest weekend, October 17th, 18th, 19th. Go down, get this man's autograph and a bracelet.
Yeah, and a bracelet.
Thank you.
Right,
We'll take care. Have a good
Thanks
one, Bill.
again.
All of his links are down below. Make sure you go check it out. Bill was fantastic. I had such a great time. That was fun, dude. I love learning about just talking about filmmaking in general. Always excites me. So it was just a really good time. And I feel so bad because you were so quiet, but I didn't like I just kept like jumping on the next question.
No, you're good.
I'll
get them next time on the questions.
I made sure to make sure that people understand his questions. I was like, I got to make sure to touch this movie. So how do you feel about stunts? Are you a big stunts guy?
I mean, I enjoy watching stunts. I can't do them. I got a bad back. I mean,
no, I don't
can do a stunt
doing No one's expecting you to jump out of a plane, Paul.
I mean, I will. If you ask me to for the scene Snobs, 100%.
I would never ask you to. I didn't even want Dan to jump off of that ladder.
I know. That's a good thing Dan and I live so far away because it would be a problem if we were.
I want you to take this as a full warning. I never want you to jump off anything. I'm not asking for that. I know we have a charity event coming up.
Yeah.
Please don't hurt yourself. Nobody wants that.
Right.
So be safe, Paul.
Yeah.
We'll get the professionals to do it. We'll get Bill. Come on, Bill. We need a big stunt.
All I heard is professionals are made, so I got to start somewhere. So
I just
got you, man.
All I pictured was redoing the Dan jump. But as he's on there, sorry, all right, Dan, come down. We're gonna get the stunt double in.
You just cut it really poorly, just really bad.
It cuts through, and it's a picture of Bill going through the table. If he's okay with that, I might need to do that on that video. It's just a special one to say thanks for being on the show. Just like Bill's picture, like falling through the table over Dan.
That would be awesome.
Oh my god!
Well, I need to film it on different cameras.
Oh, Bill's saying in the comments, "Do it, jump."
I'll wear a green suit for you, and then I'll jump through a table. Then you could just pop them right on there. I'll just have some prednisone ready in the back. So I'll be
always. You gotta be ready. All right. Well, everybody, it's that time of night. We're going to do Sturdy's movie picks. These are all of Sturdy's picks throughout Snobtober, which runs through September and October, as you know, from 1994 and 1990. Paul, do you think you can guess which movies they are?
I know that's Misery on the right. I know this one on the left, but it's not popping.
It's going to be Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Next Generation. Speaking of The Next Generation, another one. So Sturdy has been picking all of our movies for Does It Suck and Classic Film Review. He's followed the parameters. This is next week's movies. So next Tuesday, you will get Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Next Generation, and then, of course, you're going to have Misery as our Classic Film Review on Friday. So make sure to check that out. Sturdy has heard good things about that, Sturdy, as he says. These are some fun movies. In our classic film review, and Does It Suck, as you know, we get into it and I do my review. These are movies I would say check out, add to your lists. Misery is a fantastic movie. It's just great. We were talking about Rob Reiner as a director of Spinal Tap and Spinal Tap 2. He also directed Misery. It's a fantastic horror film. Kathy Bates, James Caan, just truly great. Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation is a wild slasher movie. It is bizarre. It's weird. It's crazy. I dig it. I think it's one of the, not one of the better ones in this. Well, actually, with all of them they have in the series now, it is one of the better ones now. But when it came out, it was one of the lamer ones. Matthew McConaughey, Renee Zellweger, it's worth it. I think checking it out is fun. It's just one of those, like, sort of become cultish. Have you seen these movies?
Yes, I've seen them both. I love Misery. That's one of Sam's favorite movies, too.
Smart.
Which is kind of concerning, but it's still a good movie.
Well, she just wants to keep you there. She just wants to make sure you're safe.
You ain't got to break my shit to keep me anywhere.
Listen. That's what he said, but he tried to get away. You got to finish that story and you got to bring it back to life. Help me. Yeah, it ain't me. Not me. What about Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Yeah, I mean, I like them. I honestly love every Texas Chainsaw Massacre I've ever seen just for what they are. Like, I mean, I guess it never was quite my direct franchise, so I'm not like, well, this is too different from this X, Y, and Z. I just like them for what they are. Yeah. Just the bruteness of it, and some of them are a little more dramatic or more in the drama than they are quite the killings, which is kind of interesting too. But I mean, I love it just like a Halloween, right? You love it for those good, just gritty scenes of just pure adrenaline and just and you're like, holy shit.
I love the cinematography in this one because it had that like independent feel, 90s style. It was dark shadows, a lot of backlighting, which I thought, like, for a horror movie, especially a low-budget slasher, was pretty solid. The acting performances were bizarre and weird and good. They had I mean, it's campy, don't get me wrong, and it has a lot of cheese to it, but I dig it. I think it's a fun movie. This wasn't my first time watching it when Sturdy gave it to me, but I'm glad I got to check it out again for sure. Very fun. All right, but it is time for my film definitions with Mick. I picked out a special one. I picked out for tonight. It's a stunt night. So
good.
As you guys know, I'm reading film definitions from my complete film dictionary from 1987. This is an old book, but it's got some good ones. They're just definitions, so it works. We're learning history. All right, so I'm going to read two today, and they both pertain to stunts. Stuntman, stuntwoman. The individual who substitutes for an actor or actress to perform some difficult or dangerous action. This person must, of course, have some resemblance to the original performer and be dressed in an identical manner. Shots of such action are taken. Sharts of such action. No. And I almost said sharts again. Shots of such action are taken so that the identity of the stunt performer is hidden. Stunt personnel are especially adept at taking falls, surviving crashes, or performing demanding athletic feats. When a film requires a group of such people performing a number of these actions, a stunt coordinator is hired, as we talked about with Bill tonight. And the second definition is Stuntmen's Association of Motion Pictures, an organization made up of stuntmen and women for the purpose of keeping the members informed of new stunt techniques and for exchanging information. Stunt people are also belong to the Screen Actors Guild, which we will see as a definition on another day. That's your film definition of sharts. And then what I would like to talk about before we get going, though, is a very special, near and dear to my heart situation going on. The Family Drive-In. If you have not heard us talking about it, the Family Drive-In is in Stevens City, Virginia. It's a beautiful drive-in, been around since 1956. The land is owned by a real estate company, and they're looking to sell it out from underneath the drive-in. They don't care if the drive-in remains. So we're trying to save it. The manager at the drive-in has a fundraiser going on right now to try and buy the land so that way he can preserve it. It is a beautiful place. Just a wonderful time anytime I've been in there. And that's why I didn't see him. I want to go see it at the drive-in. I'm going to see him, and I'm going to see a Big Bold Beautiful Journey at the drive-in this weekend because I really want to support going in, not just the fundraiser, but also support with ticket sales and such because it's all going in. But yeah, guys, if you could, it's linked down in the description. If you could just donate something to help out and get us there, that'd be great. We are going to be doing a Casters for a Cause charity script read on October 18th. That is Saturday, October 18th. We're going to be doing a charity script read of Lethal Weapon 2. That's right, the sequel. And we're going to have a good time with that. So we have a lot of great people joining in for that. And everything is going to be all proceeds you're donating straight to them. So all go to the Family Drive-In and their fundraiser they got going on. So I want to say thank you for being a part of that and hanging out and having a good old time. How about you, my friend? How you doing?
I'm doing good. Great. Enjoying life. I'm ready to start filming now. He put all this talk about filming and stunts and shit. Like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, yeah, you're right. I just need to go film my shit. Stop.
Yes, you do.
Go film it. Just go film it. And I want his coloring book. If you're still watching Bill, I really want that coloring book.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds bizarre. Like I've seen the pictures, and it was some of them that he has up. Like they don't have to show the whole thing, but it sounds bizarre and wild and good for horror fans, especially. But
Yes.
you got anything going on recently? Or are you getting ready for the Halloween season?
Oh yeah, totally trying to spook it up, trying to get my job to give me the budget they said they were going to give me for what I can buy. But otherwise, the newer tradition for us is to go to my friend's house and to kind of deck it out with Halloween stuff and just hand out candy to kids. And it was a pretty big hit last year. I think we probably had about 50 people come by. Just his house. So this year, I'm trying to go all out for him and just deck out the whole thing. I want to make it the spot everyone knows to go to. So gearing up for all of that.
I know up here, some of the the car washes will do a haunted house.
Oh, okay.
Is that something like as you drive through, like you kind of, I think the employees there are like scaring the hell out of everybody. That's what happened to us anyway. Is that something like you could see yourself doing?
So they did talk about it, and I know it's going to sound really weird, especially coming from me if you guys know me, because I'm insane. But I worry about the liability because I have a lot of the older community, and I fear that a customer, if somebody pops out of anything, is going to put their car in fucking drive and get hurt or hurt someone else. So when they talked about doing it in the tunnel, I was like, absolutely not. I was like, if you do it, it can only be for Halloween, and it has to be outside where their cars are parked, not anywhere near where they're messing with their gears, because I don't want to deal with damage claims or, God forbid, someone get hurt. And they were like, well, you might be right. I was like, no, 100%. And you want us as car wash attendants in a car wash in masks and shit, we can't see the rat anyway. So no, I was more on the cautious side with that. But as for decking the outside, absolutely. I already talked to a local balloon. I don't know what you call it, balloon artist. She makes beautiful, like 6-foot things of different balloon animals, things like that. And we've been talking some horror things. So if you're near Kernersville, get ready because you're going to see some cool things at that car wash. You're going to know Halloween's the one.
Oh, that's your job, man. That's what you're all into. Like, I can't even imagine that. Dude, that would be awesome. I can't wait. You have anything you want to add before we get going, my friend?
Hey, guys, just enjoy time with your family. Even if you don't watch football, go watch some football with, your dad, your brother, I don't know, your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever you want to do. Try to find time to see some family and friends. Time's fleeting, time's beautiful. And, I have one of my best friends, shout out to Hunter. He's about to have his first child, and we grew up together. We've known each other since we're 12, and it's a real beautiful thing. So enjoy those moments you have with your best friends before, they take that next chapter where you might not be quite as part of it as you were, and that's okay. But enjoy the times you got.
I love it. Very wise words. Thank you, my friend. I want to say thank you to everybody who joined in. Thank you to William R. Perry, stuntman and actor extraordinaire, jumping in and talking to us tonight, having a great old time. Go check him out. Again, Scarefest weekend. That is October 17th, 18th, and 19th. Go check him out in Lexington, Kentucky. Thank you guys again for joining in, hanging out with us. Thanks to Sir Sturdy for my picks again this week. I just appreciate what we've got going on. It's been actually a long episode, but it has been a fun one for sure. Thank you guys. Remember, do not obey. Always appreciate freedom of speech. Take care of yourselves because that's important. That is super important, especially in this day and age. And remember to be kind and rewind. And until next time, we'll talk to you soon. Bye.